Hey everyone, Disable here. Just going to try and put together a tips and tricks video for sort of solo in squads is the main sort of theme behind it. One of my subscribers asked me to give that a go, so here I am. Just going to give you a little background on me, just so I guess so you know my tips and tricks might be somewhat worthwhile. Been gaming since I was like, I don't know, 5 years old on a Mega Drive or something. 35 years old now. I've got 3 brothers, so all we did was game 4-player continuously. Thank you, N64. Thank you for Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. You basically raised me. So yeah, I was moved on to PC at like 15 or something, 14, 15. Gamed on Unreal Tournament and various other games to a pretty high level. Represented UK at Unreal Tournament. That's on PC with mouse and keyboard, obviously. There wasn't broadband or decent computers back then, or Twitch or YouTube or anything, so a long time ago. Wish I was born in a different era, to be honest with you. But there we go. So been doing that for a while. Then I moved to console and using a control pad, just because didn't have enough room in the house for a PC. The PC is expensive, very old. All your friends play on console and want you to play with them. The usual reasons why most people do that. So I played on pad for years. In fact, I only started using a Zim mouse and keyboard relatively pretty recently. But it's always been my input method of choice. I still think I was pretty good with a pad. I mean, I had like close to a 3KD on Call of Duty with a control pad. So it just shows you that aim, which Zim obviously does help you with, I think, if you're used to it, isn't the be all and end all, right? It's game sense and other factors that play as well. So that's the bit of the backstory, and I want to get into the tips and tricks if I can. Okay, yeah, so one of my subscribers asked me to do a tips video basically for taking down more squads. So here I am, giving it a go. So much to cover. I'll probably miss loads of stuff, but also this game is just really annoying because obviously there's not a practice mode or like Fortnite creative mode or whatever. So the closest you can get is this training bit. So I guess I'll have to do it here, which isn't ideal, but there we go. So I mean, how you approach a fight is so key. I really can't state that enough. Try and give you an example. There's people fighting over here, right, kind of in the open-ish. Now, obviously our quest is to try and get as many kills as possible, right, not just to stay alive. So we want to be really aggressive, we want to push them, we want to get the kills, but at the same time we simply can't engage people like in this position, because you're just too out in the open. All it takes is to get team shot, or not even team shot sometimes. If they've got the right gun or they're good, you're just going to get melted in seconds. Doesn't matter how good your aim is, if you've got 2 or 3 people shooting you and they've got thumbs, you're dead. So approaching a fight, it seems obvious, but you've got to have that balance of being aggressive but utilising the terrain around you. So let's say they were fighting over here, like I said before, and they're here. I'd probably try and get to a position where I can at least use the terrain if I need to. I might initially be out, but then I can pop down, for example, like that if I need to, or I could slide and then utilise this as a head glitch. It's pretty obvious stuff, guys, but sometimes it goes out of your mind. Alternatively, if the fight's still going on, I might want to, and I've got certain guns, like close range weapons, for example, then I might want to get a bit closer. So I might want to move around here, and whilst I'm doing that, another important factor might be that you'll spam your nades at them. And nades are generally how you want to start most fights because they're just incredibly powerful. Their range is really, really big, and obviously arc stars are the ones you want. Thermites are pretty much trash. Grenades are okay, but they just take too long to blow up. So generally you just want to get as many arc stars as you possibly can and enter the fight with them. They can just level the playing field so easily just by stunning people or taking someone down. So yeah, it's utilising your terrain, understanding what guns you've got, and just realising you can't stand out in the complete open pretty much at any given time. What else? Okay, yeah. So when you're coming up to the fight, obviously you want to use sound to your advantage. Make sure you've definitely got a good set of headphones. I mean, most of the time, if I'll die or when I'll die, it'll be because I didn't hear someone somewhere. I didn't hear him, and he was up here or something. He was here, and then he'll just completely catch me off guard. And it's similar to what, like I said before, if you're out in the open, you get killed. But even if I'm here head glitching and he's over here, then I'm out on the open to him, and he just destroys me. So I know it's quite hard to utilise sound when you've got TeamSpeak. Maybe you've got gunfire, which is incredibly loud in this game. Nades going off. You might have the ship near you, which is really annoying as well. But you just got to try and train your ears to listen to the sounds and not get tunnel vision. If you're shooting and you can hear a slight sound to your left, take a look. Sometimes I'm guilty of that. A guy's like one hit and I'm just trying to get that kill, and I can hear the sound, but I think I'll worry about it later, or I'll just hope they're rubbish. Don't do that. Have a look, see if they're there, see what's going on. It might be free kills to that side as well. So yeah, definitely utilise your sound. You also want to have your wheels set up before you go in. I see a lot of people make that mistake when I'm watching them, and by that I mean you want to already have your arc stars selected before you go to the fight, and you probably want your big shield, especially with your lifeline, set ready to go rather than being on a health pack. You don't want to have to waste precious seconds cycling through, and I know sometimes it can be very quick to do it, but it's just another basic that can save you like milliseconds. And yeah, time's obviously key. What else? Abilities as well. Obviously I use main lifeline most of the time, so I don't really have to worry about this, but especially if you're Pathfinder, you want to, and Wraith I would say, and Bangalore, you want to make sure your abilities are saved. You don't want to use them to get into the fight. You don't want to rush in with the grapple. You want to keep it in case you need to get out. You want to use it in a more defensive way, I think. It's all good rushing into the fight, and then you might land and realise you've bit off more than you can chew, and then you just can't escape and you just get destroyed. A good lifeline will probably do a zip line in or run in, and then he'll use his grapple to launch away if he needs to. And there's nothing more annoying than playing versus a good Pathfinder. He's probably the best character in the game, actually, or him and Lifeline, in my opinion. So yeah, just try and make sure you've got those abilities stored up. Same with Bangalore. You don't want to be needlessly using your smoke or Wraith to get there quicker. You probably want to use it in case you need to escape. Plenty of times when I'm Lifeline, in fact, that I wish I had an ability to escape because I just got caught in the wrong position. So yeah, make a conscious effort to try and keep them. Okay, the other main focus you want when you're coming up to a team is obviously to try and down one person. Do everything you possibly can to at least down one person. Just imagine it's a complete clean fight. It's 1 versus 3. Okay, your teammate's a potato. They've died. They've run the other way. Whatever. And you come around the corner or vaguely near someone, and there's 3 people. Now, easier said than done, but you really want to focus your damage on one person. Now, if there's someone standing still amongst that team, then you probably just want to focus that person and just get him down. Do everything you possibly can to get him down. Because then, you've evened the fight slightly. You've taken away, 33% of the threat. And the ideal scenario here would be that the other team member starts to try and revive the other guy, leaving you in pretty much a 1 versus 1. So heavy focusing on one person is definitely the way to try and do it. Whether you finish that person depends on I guess the experience, the fight as a whole. It's something I can't really tell you. You just have to judge it. Like, a lot of the time I probably wouldn't finish the person because I want the other guy to go and try and revive him. But at the same time, if my loot is absolute trash or he's done big damage to me and I need to swap my shield, then I might finish him real quick so I can do that. Just bear in mind then you're going to be facing two people on your own pretty much who've got no other considerations going in their mind. Because, if you're playing randoms and stuff, quite a lot of the time they'll just maybe screaming on the mic, just rubbish, under pressure. They'll try and do something silly to try and rescue their teammate when they probably shouldn't. So yeah, it's a judgment one on that, but generally I'll try and leave them alive just so there's another focus for the team, right? Again, an exception to that might be you down someone here. You don't really need the loot, so that you don't need to finish him for any reason. There's 2 people over here somewhere, but if he's just sat right next to you and he's constantly pinging, which he probably will be, he should be, your position, and you're moving around, you're trying to duck and dive and use the terrain, and he's going to be pinging you and letting everyone know where you are, then it's probably a good idea to kill him because he's just giving them too much information. So again, it's a judgment thing. There's no exact science to it. You just have to learn from experience, I guess. What else? Okay, movement is obviously key, very, very key. The movement in this game is actually really, really cool. You know, it's not super advanced, but it's still quite great. And pretty much the slide jump, this little thing that I just did there, which you can do on any terrain, is great. Now, if you don't catch it right or you don't turn properly, you'll go a little bit slower, and you can actually slide for quite a while, then jump. But it's not just the slide jump that you want to utilise. You just want to utilise movement in general, really, versus someone. Because at the end of the day, remember, a lot of these guys are playing, whether they're playing on keyboard or pad or whatever, the auto aim in this game makes it very easy to hit people when they're completely still or hardly moving. Especially like me, where I'm using the Spitfire, you can see my movement while I'm ADSing is pretty much non-existent. Now anyone can just lock onto me like that and just shoot me. So you wanna try and keep as mobile as you possibly can, and you don't want to remain ADS'd too much, especially at close to mid-range. Long range, you know, it's pretty much fine, but close range, you don't want to use it too much. You know, especially if you've just used your clip. Let's say you spammed your R99, your clip's gone, and see that little reload that I'm doing there? That's when you want to utilise your slide on your slide jump. Shoot him, and then you want to do that. So as soon as you finish your clip, you want to try and utilise the slide. And it's quite hard to get because you sometimes need to do it forwards, you know, and you have to be holding run. So you shot, and then you hold run, slide, and then you want to focus. And just that movement like that, especially at close range for a pad user. Some people use really low sensitivities as well to have good aim, and they can't handle it when you're going all around them at close range. So yeah, definitely try and use the movement. Another one on that is hip firing. Actually really helps with your movement, and the hip fire is great in this game. It's really, really accurate most of the time, and it enables you to keep that high speed movement. So generally if someone's close to me, I won't be spit firing like this, I'll be moving like this. I'm much faster at moving around this guy, you know, compared to this. Now there's no contest for me. I'd rather miss a few more bullets doing this and give myself a better chance to stay alive. And it doesn't have to be that close. I mean, you can literally do it after range like this. And that includes the R99. The R99 is great whilst ADS because it gives you more movement speed. As you can see, the strafe speed's good. So yeah, more often than not you want to ADS with the R99. But again, it's still not as good as just utilising. So with the R99, you do have to be really close to utilise the hip fire, really, but it's just something to bear in mind. You don't always need to ADS. You don't always need to be deadly accurate. Your movement's probably more important to avoid getting auto aim locked on. I may as well talk about it now. Actually, I wasn't going to talk about it yet, but that comes to the guns I would use to be a squad killer. Now, a lot of them are going to be like what people consider newbie guns, I think, like the Spitfire. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's many guns that are better at taking out whole squads. I mean, you can take down a whole squad in one clip if you've got extended mags. And sometimes you just need to be able to keep shooting. So the Spitfire is still top tier, even if it doesn't actually do enough damage, really. Like, if you're one-on-one versus an R99, you're dead like this. So you do have to bear that in mind. But Spitfire is definitely a good one. But the priority you want is this bad boy here. The R99 is easily the best gun in the game for, well, it's just easily the best gun in the game, to be honest with you. But certainly for taking down squads. Obviously you need the extended mags on it, really, but your priority should be to get this gun. The reason being, I've already said, the movement speed is really, really good. It just does so much damage. Like, you can kill even with bullets, like a purple shield, if you hit all your bullets, and it just fries people so quickly at point blank range. So if you're shooting a couple of people and one person rushes you, you can just quickly flick and to the R99 and kill him, and he'll be dead nowhere near you. It's so good. It really is. And it's, you know, even if you suck with the gun, I think because it has got quite a lot of recoil, I would make it my mission just to practice using that as much as possible, and always try to pick one up and utilise it. What else on the R99? I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about it. Yeah, just an absolutely fantastic gun. It burns through ammo. Yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah, it just shoots so fast, and that's probably the main reason why it can kill people. And it also reloads pretty quickly. It loads pretty quickly compared to most other guns. You can kill someone, do that slide I was talking about, or duck behind cover, and then you're ready to go again straight away. Right, I think I've loved the R99 enough. You get the idea. What else can I say? When to heal and when to fight, again, is something that will come with experience. With Lifeline, generally I can get away with doing a heal, especially if I get the gold backpack. It become basically a cheat. It's just ridiculous. You can heal so quick, but sometimes you'll be in that awkward position where you don't know whether to heal or whether to fight. And most of the time when you're in that position, you probably should fight, because you try to drop a heal and someone comes around the corner and shoot you, you're dead, right? And your guns probably won't be reloaded or anything because you've probably just been in a fight. So my priority would be to reload my guns first, because fighting fire with fire, if someone comes around the corner and you're quite low but you've got a full clip of Spitfire and you utilise your movement and you hold it down and you shoot them, yeah, you might be really low and you might die, of course, but there's a chance you can kill him or at least weaken him sufficiently where then you'll be in a better position to heal. Whereas if I'm healing and he just comes around the corner and my guns aren't reloaded or anything, or I'm just not ready for him, he's just going to kill me in 2 seconds. So you may as well go for it and just hope that it works out. So yeah, again, probably more of an experienced one, to be honest. What else have I got to say? Other weapons I'd use, I said Spitfire, R99, obviously the R301's good as well, and the energy weapons in general are pretty good. The Havoc's probably better than the Devotion now, because the Devotion you just got that slow movement speed. Havocs are slightly faster, I think. But obviously you need a turbocharger and loads of ammo for that, so they're not ideal. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Peacekeeper's great early on, really good at the beginning of the game. Most people have got 100 health or white shields, but the longer you go on in the game, the Peacekeeper becomes not as useful really, especially as a lot of your fights are more out in the open and not really directly in buildings. You know, if you're in buildings in the late game, fair enough, but you know, one pump isn't going to kill someone, so a lot of the time you might one pump them, and you may even hit them in the head or do really big damage to them with one shot, but they've got an R99, so they just open up on you, they keep firing, and by the time you've just about reloaded for your second shot, you're already dead. And we all know it can be really inconsistent as well, right? Sometimes you hit them square on, it does like 10 damage. So I would drop the Peacekeeper as soon as it becomes an option. What else have I got to say? Okay, if we're just going for high kills in general, just a few tips on that really. These are probably ones you know as well, but when you deploy in from the map, let's say you're coming from down here near Thunderdome, generally you want to be landing in the high loot zone here, the Skull Town, or your first drop. So generally I'll either drop straight away, Skull Town, or in the high tier loot, occasionally on the ship as well. Pretty much don't land anywhere else unless I'm not paying attention and my teammates drop me in, because you need to force yourself into fights. That's where all the action is going to be. It goes without saying that if you can get a decent loot or something, or make do with what you've got, you're going to get, as soon as you can get kills on the board, you've got a much greater chance of getting high kills. So you definitely want to drop in those areas, but also you want to bear in mind where the ship went. Like, let's say you've killed everyone in the beginning, but the ship went up this way, and you landed here at Thunderdome. Now you know that just depending on where the circle's gone, most of the people are going to be at this side of the map around here. They're going to have gone to all these areas. So yeah, you just want to bear in mind where the ship went, and that's where people are probably going to be coming from. So that's where you want to push. You want to circle guard a lot as well, like when the circles get pushed up. If you've had to run to the edge of the circle, there's probably others who've had to run to the edge of the circle, right? So generally I would run in a sweeping motion around the edge of the circle until I can hear gunfire. And bear in mind they also may be healing weak from the storm, so circle guarding is pretty good in this game. The edge guarding, I mean. So try and do that if you can. What have I missed? What have I missed? Probably the only other thing, which again just goes back to using the terrain, is when you're in fights. Obviously high ground is absolutely devastatingly good in the right circumstances, so you do want to utilise high ground, but at the same time you want to just utilise it in general when you're fighting. Let's say I'm fighting a person here and I just want to jump on top, and it gives me all that extra angle to him to look at. The same way, if I'm here and the guy's up here, generally I want to try and pop up on top and hold the high ground, have him spin around me, so then I can duck down, utilise the terrain as best I can. So using rocks and things, it surprises some people still, which it shouldn't, right? Everyone should be pretty good at this game now, but say a lot of people panic when under stress, or their teammates are down, so just jumping up on something in front of you can really confuse them. Another quick tip for you guys actually is when you're aiming at someone like this, obviously you want to maintain some movement, and a lot of people will be strafing. I mean, pretty much any good gamer will be strafing, be that Call of Duty, this game, whatever, right? And whether that's using a control pad or a keyboard, a lot of it's going to involve the left and right stuff. But what I think really helps in this game is to add forward or backwards. So you want to kind of do it diagonally more than left and right, and it just seems to help the auto aim a lot of the time. If you're shooting at someone and you're finding that you're outside the hitbox, but your cursor's kind of on them or just a bit behind or in front, utilising your movement keys rather than your mouse to adjust is a good way to do that. So spamming A and D for a little bit to see if it helps, or using it up and down in diagonal, or even running a circle, WASD the whole way. But what I'm trying to say is you always really want to be pressing 2 keys rather than just one, or moving in a diagonal motion if you're on a nav pad or just a normal control pad. And it really seems to help lock in with the auto aim. Next time you're shooting someone and you're finding that's happening just outside the hitbox, give it a go and see what you think. Okay, I've probably rambled on enough. If you like the tips, if there's anything else you think that I've missed or I should have covered, or you've got your own tips, then feel free to leave them in the comments section. And let me know if you want me to do any more guides or anything like this in the future, and I shall try my best. Alright, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks, bye bye.